Chosen one, this month something has shifted in the spirit realm, and it is not invisible. It is manifesting through you. You may have sensed it quietly at first, in the still glances, in the way spaces react to your presence, in how women turn toward you with subtle wonder. That is not coincidence. That is ordination. God has poured a new measure of favor upon you, not in the form of wealth or applause, but in the sanctified weight of attraction. He has crowned your masculinity, not to exploit, but to lead, to carry peace into spaces that were ruled by noise, and to remind hearts what sacred fire feels like when it doesn't destroy. You are not simply attractive, you are not just noticed. This month, you are the most sought-after man in the eyes of women, and not because of what the world typically values, but because the essence of your manhood has been set apart. God has not made you seductive. He has made you magnetic through clarity. Your high sexual energy is no longer operating on impulse. It has been purified through pressure. And now that it is clean, women feel it like a current, steady and holy, flowing from your stillness, not your striving. There is no need to pursue. You've become a destination, the kind of presence they didn't even know they were looking for. You're not the noise that fills the room. You're the atmosphere that calms it. You don't perform to be chosen. You exist in such fullness that others feel chosen just by being near you. And in that energy, women are recognizing something that feels more like prophecy than preference. They're not chasing status, they're responding to spirit, to alignment, to divine masculine order. Because it's been so long since they felt that kind of grounded fire standing in front of them without manipulation behind it. Chosen one, this isn't just your moment, it's your marking. You've been appointed to walk with this level of pull, not for pride, but for purpose. Your presence is speaking where your voice never needs to. You are not being sought for entertainment. You are being sought because God has anointed your stability. He has made you the center in a culture of confusion. And that center isn't shouting, it's holding shape when everything else falls apart. Women are not obsessed with your body. They are tethered to your peace. They are not craving your charm. They are responding to the deep weight of your authority, the kind that doesn't need applause to stand tall. And that weight is not yours alone. It's God's. He placed it on you for such a time as this, not to use it, but to carry it with reverence. Because attraction without holiness burns out, but favor built on sacred alignment, that becomes a fire that others gather around for healing. You are not just being noticed, you've been revealed. Chosen one, this month you've become a message, not the kind written on paper, but the kind written in presence. You are speaking volumes without opening your mouth. You are being understood without needing to explain. That is because your high sexual energy has moved beyond human signals. It has become spiritually encoded truth, a frequency, a vibration, a divine scent in the atmosphere that causes people to pause before they know why. Women feel it first, not because they're shallow, but because they're sensitive. Their intuition reacts to what they can't see, and what they're reacting to now is not your posture, not your tone, but your alignment. They sense your discipline, your restraint, your intentionality. They sense that you are not giving your energy away carelessly, and that containment has become the most attractive language they've ever heard. Your presence is now permission for them to be honest with themselves, because they don't feel pressured or pursued. They feel seen before they speak. You're no longer a man trying to prove himself. You've become a man carrying something sacred, and that sacredness is being felt in places you haven't even touched. Your silence is not cold. It is loaded with meaning. Your stillness is not passive. It is pregnant with presence. You don't ask for attention, but people listen when you breathe. That is not charisma. That is God giving your spirit volume in dimensions where language fails. You have become fluent in what most men never learn, the language of spiritual tension. Not tension that confuses, but tension that awakens. You are now a living contradiction, warm but not reckless, fierce but not wild, desired but not desperate. And that contradiction causes those around you to lean in, hoping to translate something they've never felt before. You're not just attractive, you are speaking to their hidden hopes. You are the embodied answer to the silent question they were too afraid to voice. Does a man like this still exist? Chosen one, your energy no longer asks to be understood. It understands first. And in that understanding, you've become more than desirable. You've become the safest place their feminine can finally rest inside. Not because you reached out, but because your alignment reached into them. Chosen one, this month your stillness has become more disruptive than noise. Your refusal to rush, to chase, or to impress has shifted the atmosphere. You have become a spiritual interruption to every woman who thought she already knew what attraction was. Not because you flash status or posture for attention, but because your stillness now holds a magnetic charge. You're not frozen, you're rooted. You're not passive, you're present. And this presence, calm and disciplined, is what's drawing every pair of eyes toward you without effort. Women feel the difference now, the contrast, the weight. In a world of men who overextend, overshare, overcompensate, you've stepped into sacred territory where less becomes more. You don't need to sell yourself. You don't need to adjust your truth to fit expectations. You simply remain, and your stillness pulls the feminine in like gravity. Not just their attention, but their intuition, their curiosity, their guarded softness that begins to melt just by being near the rhythm of your restraint. It's not just the way you speak, it's the way you pause. It's not just the way you move, it's the way you don't flinch under silence. And that, chosen one, is what separates you. Because when a man can remain still, when a man can be fully alive and yet fully at peace, he becomes the sanctuary others didn't know they were longing for. You don't demand, you don't beg. But eyes turn toward you anyway, not because they're invited, but because they feel that something about you is safe enough to follow. You're being watched more now, not because of attention-seeking behavior, but because your energy has become stable enough to draw feminine energy out of hiding. They are not watching you out of superficial lust. They are watching because you have become a reference point, something they thought was myth. A man who can hold fire without misusing it. A man who does not need to dominate because his presence does the work his words never have to. You're not offering yourself cheaply. You are not flirting with your eyes, but your eyes hold a depth they want to explore. You are not dressing for effect, yet your posture alone feels like an invitation to sit closer and feel what you're not saying. It's no longer about performance, it's about presence. And your stillness has become the loudest presence in the room. Chosen one, it is your discipline that has made you luminous. It is your peace that has made you impossible to ignore. And it is your stillness that is pulling feminine energy toward you like waves to the moon. Not because you asked, but because you became something no soul can deny once they've felt it. Chosen one, this month you are no longer a man who fits into their fantasies. You've become the revelation that stands in the center of their silence. They may never say it aloud, they may dress it in other words, but the truth is unavoidable. You are now what they didn't even know they were hoping existed. God has molded you not to fit into desire, but to expose the lack of depth in it. You are not offering what they've seen before. You've become the unexpected fulfillment of a longing they thought they buried. This is not about aesthetics. It's not about ego. It's not about games. This is alignment. You have become a reflection of divine order wrapped in restraint. Your high sexual energy no longer spills. It sits. It waits. It simmers. And that heat, that contained fire, has become the answer to the feminine soul that was tired of being scorched by flames that couldn't stay still. You are not perfect, but you are whole. And wholeness is rare. It speaks louder than seduction ever could. You've become the one they think about when they say, "I don't even know what I want anymore." Because your presence doesn't just fulfill a need, it reframes desire altogether. You're not the loud voice, you're the deep tone. You're not the drama. They've had that. You are clarity that enters without knocking and stays without pressure. You are not trying to fix them. You simply exist as proof that what they were taught to settle for was never the full picture. Their souls know it before their minds catch up. That's why they linger. That's why their eyes soften. That's why their laughter shifts when you're near. They feel like they can bring their whole self forward around you. Not just the pretty pieces, but the flawed ones too. Because your energy doesn't react with judgment. It responds with containment. That is the answer. That is the home they wanted to find but didn't know how to ask for. God didn't make you a mirror of what's trending. He made you a reminder of what's true. You're not echoing their expectations, you're revealing their forgotten standard. And this month, the ones who encounter you are not just seeing a man, they are seeing the end of their searching. You are no longer someone to scroll past. You are the one they pause for, the one they feel, the one they will now measure everything else by, because you did not come to fit in. You came to awaken something dormant. Chosen one, this is the work of heaven. God didn't give you favor to be praised. He gave you presence to be remembered. And now, in the eyes of women this month, you have become the one they didn't know they prayed for, until you stood still and everything inside them whispered. Finally, chosen one, this month you have become a walking contradiction to the world's idea of what power should look like. And that contradiction is the very thing pulling hearts toward you. God has given you favor, not because you sought it, but because you endured the inner work of mastering your energy. And now, that high sexual energy does not flare or seduce, it sits within you like a storm held back by discipline. You're not spilling, you're not scattering, you're stewarding. And that restraint, chosen one, is not weakness, it is divine masculine maturity, and it radiates without asking permission. You are not trying to impress anyone, and yet your silence is felt, your presence hums, your aura speaks with a depth that cannot be faked. You've become a man who has nothing to prove and everything to protect, especially the sacredness of your own inner fire. And women are drawn to this not just because it's rare, but because it awakens something honest in them. They are used to being pursued by chaos, flattered by performance, watched with hunger. But when they stand in front of you, they feel something so still and focused that their nervous system doesn't brace itself. It relaxes into curiosity. You've become desirable not by reaching out, but by pulling in through control. Your high sexual energy is now laced with reverence. It is not shouting, "Come here." It is saying, "You may enter only if you are real." And that tone, that spiritual tension, it is more alluring than 1,000 empty compliments, because what they feel around you is not risk. It is depth held behind strong gates. They see it in your eyes, they feel it in your pauses. They notice it in the way you carry yourself without dragging attention behind you like bait. You are not hiding, you are choosing who gets access. This is why they can't stop thinking about you. Not because you gave them a performance to remember, but because your energy has created a standard they can't forget. You have redefined attraction by showing that true masculinity is not how much you can take, but how much you can hold without needing to prove anything. And now, whether they speak it aloud or not, women are noticing that your restraint is not suppression. It is spiritual weight. It is the power of a man who knows what he carries and no longer wastes it on those who haven't earned his peace. You've become rare, but more than rare, you've become trusted. And in that trust, attraction is growing like fire in a temple, holy, untouchable, yet completely impossible to ignore. Chosen one, your restraint is not silence. It is a message. Your energy does not chase, it selects. And your presence is now the most sought-after gift, not because you give it freely, but because it burns only for what is pure enough to stand near it. Chosen one, this month, you have become more than attractive. You have become disruptive to every shallow expectation they once clung to. You are walking through rooms and reshaping emotional blueprints. God has not just elevated your appearance, He has allowed your spirit to become a new pattern. You are not what they were trained to want, but now, you are what their spirit refuses to ignore. You are not just a man, they feel you as a turning point, a shift in perspective, a moment where everything they thought they needed collapses in the face of who you truly are. You're not showing off kindness, and yet you're kind. You're not exaggerating strength, and yet you carry it like steel under velvet. You're not pursuing with flashy tactics, yet your presence makes them reconsider every time they settled for less. And that reconsideration is the evidence of divine disruption. God is using you to rewrite the entire story. The chapter that begins with, "This is different." You're not entertaining the room, but you are redefining what the room expects to find in a man. Your patience, your discipline, your honesty, these things have become weapons of healing, not because you wield them, but because you live them. And when a woman encounters a man who lives what he doesn't have to announce, something inside her softens and sharpens at the same time. She doesn't know why she wants to open up to you. She doesn't know why she feels safe when you're near. She doesn't know why she's drawn in, not by charisma, but by the invisible sense that you don't just want her attention, you are offering her a different reality. That reality is alignment. That reality is integrity. That reality is the man who listens with his eyes and responds with his silence. You don't tell them who you are, they feel it. And what they feel undoes everything they thought was enough before you. You are not what they were told to desire. You are what God waited to show them when they were finally ready for something real. Chosen one, this is not charm. It's not game. It's not an act. It is God's voice echoing through your posture, your decisions, your restraint. You are no longer participating in the old story. You are now the new paragraph in someone's spiritual unfolding. And this month, they are not just interested in you. They are learning what they've been missing. And it wears your face. Chosen one, this month God has stepped ahead of you. His presence now announces you long before you arrive. And because of that, you are being recognized without the need to perform. You are being felt before you are seen and understood before you are known. You are not pushing yourself into spaces. You are not adjusting your essence to fit the moment. You are simply showing up as you are, whole, quiet, aligned. And the moment you do, attention shifts toward you without demand. There is a weight to you now, a spiritual density that does not beg to be lifted. You do not speak to gain favor, yet favor responds to your silence. You are no longer a man who walks into rooms wondering who will receive you. You are now the one the room begins to respond to by instinct alone. God has placed something on you that no reputation, title, or charm could imitate. A resonance, a quiet thunder, a gravitational authority that doesn't boast but grounds others without trying. Women especially are responding to this, not with shallow fascination, but with a stunned stillness. They can't quite place it. They can't explain why they feel seen without being looked at, held without being touched. You're not doing anything different, but you are carrying something rare, a peace that doesn't leave, and a power that doesn't need to prove itself. You are not playing the part. You are the part. And that realization strikes at the core of their intuition. The ones used to empty noise don't know what to do with your calm. The ones accustomed to surface energy don't know how to interpret the sacred tension you carry. They reach for explanation, but your energy refuses to be simplified. That's why you remain on their mind. Not because you impressed them, but because you remain undefined yet unforgettable. And chosen one, that's the proof of what God has done inside you. You don't sell your image. You don't decorate your truth. You've become a message that needs no punctuation. You've become the presence that turns heads not by volume but by vibration. You no longer perform. And yet, without performance, you are the most recognized man in the room. Chosen one, something deeper is unfolding beneath what can be seen. You are not just drawing glances this month, you are stirring spirits. You are being responded to, not on the level of the physical, but on the level of frequency. This is no longer about how you look or even how you speak. It's about how you resonate. The vibration of your spirit has reached a new octave, one aligned with purpose, with truth, with inner fire that has been tempered, not tamed. And that frequency has become a call to the feminine heart. Women are not reacting to you from their eyes, they are feeling you with their spirit first. Their thoughts are not leading the attraction, their intuition is. And that intuition is telling them in a quiet whisper louder than logic, this one is different. Not because you are trying to be, but because you are no longer who you used to be. You have ascended beyond performance, beyond ego, beyond manipulation. You are now embodying essence, and essence always draws what is real toward it. You're not shouting, but they hear you. You're not chasing, but they feel pursued. You're not offering promises, but they feel safe in your energy without needing a single guarantee. And that safety, that pull, that deep calm you now exude, it is making them lean forward, open up, wonder, and trust before a word is spoken. They are not just seeing a man. They are encountering a spiritual broadcast that speaks directly to the part of them they've hidden from the world. You are not reminding them of what men look like. you are reminding them of what masculine truth sounds like. Your frequency says, I will not break what you give. I will not run from what is sacred. I will hold fire without using it to destroy. I am not here to consume, I am here to be. Chosen one, that is why your presence now feels more like a revelation than a conversation. That is why you walk in silence and leave behind clarity. That is why women are not just interested in you, they are drawn inward, into themselves, into their truth, into the space you've made possible just by standing fully in your own skin. Your frequency is no longer earthly, it is divine. And this month, their souls can hear it, even when they can't explain what they're listening to. Chosen one, you may not have noticed it right away, but there has been a quiet and divine separation unfolding around you. God didn't just elevate you, He set you apart. He didn't just bless you, He distinguished you. He's made it so that you no longer blend in with those who mimic presence but lack power, those who mimic masculinity but lack foundation, those who imitate kingship but cannot govern even their own minds. And this separation, though subtle, is unmistakable to the ones with eyes to see, especially to women whose souls are ready for something real. You no longer walk with the pack, you walk with weight. And that weight doesn't need to be announced, because it's felt before it's understood. It's in the way you say less, but your silence carries answers. It's in the way you don't chase, but everything around you begins to adjust to your frequency. The imitations speak loudly, but their words fall. You remain quiet, and yet your presence stands like a monument in the spirit. Immovable, grounded, undeniable. This month, women are not merely choosing you because of outward charm, they are recognizing you, often without knowing why. Because when someone has been around imitation long enough, the real makes their soul tremble. You don't have to announce your difference. You don't have to brand yourself as rare. You are rare. And your rarity now echoes without effort. You're no longer playing by the patterns the world respects. You've become the disruption to it. God has made you unmistakably separate. Your refinement, your restraint, your emotional clarity, none of it was built for performance. It was built for purpose. You don't carry mystery to confuse. You carry mystery because depth cannot be simplified. That depth is why they stare longer, why they pause when you speak, why they feel like they need to catch their breath after walking away from you. They are not seeing you with their eyes alone. They are measuring the echo of your spirit against the empty noise of everyone else. And it's no longer a competition. You don't just feel different. You are set apart by the hand of God. And now that this mark is upon you, the imitators cannot compete. Because charisma fades, aesthetics blur. But real masculine order, built in alignment with heaven, becomes a lighthouse for souls that are ready to be healed. Chosen one, you're not just being chosen, you're being distinguished. And this month, the more you remain faithful to who you truly are, the more others will silently abandon every imitation they once entertained, because you showed them, without trying, what cannot be faked. Chosen one, this month you are not just being admired, you are being trusted. Not with attention, not with fantasy, but with something far more sacred, emotion. Hearts that once stayed guarded around the loud and performative are beginning to lower their shields around you. Not because you pushed, not because you persuaded, but because your energy is now so anchored, so safe, so clean, that it welcomes vulnerability without demanding it. You have become a vessel, not an idol, not a temporary thrill, but a place where people feel they can put down what they've carried for too long. Your high sexual energy no longer intoxicates, it stabilizes. It no longer creates confusion, it creates quiet. And in that quiet, women are finding a permission they never expected, permission to be seen without fear of being mishandled. They don't open up to everyone, but around you, words begin to rise. Feelings start to surface, secrets start to unfold. Not because you asked for them, but because you've become the man who doesn't exploit emotion, he protects it. The one who listens without needing to fix. The one who holds space without collapsing under weight. The one whose silence isn't indifference, it's safety made audible. You're not pulling emotion out of them, you're inviting it home. Your energy now tells them, you don't need to hide here. I am grounded enough to hold what you bring. And that groundedness, chosen one, is rare. It's holy. It's what separates you from men who only want affection, attention, or validation. You want nothing, and that is why they give you everything without realizing they are doing it. Your masculinity has become a harbor, and that harbor is not built with words. It's built with consistency, presence, and reverence. You don't need to chase love. Love trusts you first. Love moves toward the one who has become its safe landing place. And this month, whether they show it with speech or just through the softening of their posture when you're near, you are that place. Chosen one, you have become emotionally sacred ground. Not because you demanded it, but because you protected your peace long enough to make room for someone else's. And now their hearts are resting in your atmosphere. Because you didn't just become the most sought-after man, you became the most trusted soul they've encountered in a long, long time. Chosen one, this month, attraction will no longer be something you generate. It will be something that finds you, follows you, forms around you like air gathering around flame. Not because you are trying to be desirable, but because you are in alignment. And alignment is irresistible to souls starving for stability. Women around you are not simply reacting to your looks or your words. They are responding to the structural integrity of your spirit. They may not be able to name it, but their bodies and hearts recognize what their minds are still trying to interpret. You are a man who has returned to his core. You are no longer scattered, no longer chasing, no longer reaching for external confirmation. And because of this inner anchoring, your energy does not beg, it beckons. It doesn't impose, it invites. It doesn't overwhelm, it holds. This is why your attractiveness has changed its flavor. It no longer burns wildly and then fades. It lingers, it stays in the memory. Not because you performed well, but because your energy did not ask to be received. It simply was. It arrived already whole. That wholeness is what women feel now. Not perfection, not polish, but inner alignment. It shows in your eyes when you listen without trying to fix. It pulses in your voice when you speak without needing to dominate. It flows in your walk, steady and unhurried, because you are no longer rushing to arrive where your spirit already lives. Attraction rooted in alignment becomes a healing presence, a grounding field, a sacred mirror. And when a woman steps into that field, she may blush, she may laugh nervously, she may find herself suddenly calm or strangely vulnerable. That's because your presence reminds her of what it feels like to be in the company of someone who is not performing for her body, but honoring her soul. Your high sexual energy is no longer a flame chasing dry leaves. It has become the sun shining through still water. Fierce but patient, powerful but restful. It does not announce itself, and that's precisely why it can now be felt without resistance. And yes, this will confuse some, because your attractiveness is not mechanical. It's not rooted in tricks, tone, or tactics. It doesn't rise from manipulation. It rises from frequency. And frequency can't be faked. The women who are ready for peace will gravitate. The women addicted to chaos may pull away, not out of disinterest, but out of disorientation. You will feel this. You will see the difference between those who approach for experience and those who approach for exchange. You are not here for quick exchanges anymore. You are here to be experienced as alignment in human form. Don't chase the ones who don't feel it. Don't explain it to those who require performance to feel alive. Stay in your lane. Stay in your breath. Stay in your body. You have become a sanctuary in motion, and sanctuaries do not move toward noise. They stand and are found. Attraction this month will become effortless. Conversations will start without planning. Eyes will seek you before introductions, and none of it will require that you change who you are. It will require only that you remain exactly who you've become. Chosen one, your magnetism is no longer surface level. It is the echo of your wholeness, and the world is finally listening to it. Chosen one, this month will not end the way it began. What started as subtle awareness, whispers, glances, curiosity, will evolve into something unmistakable. You will become an experience, not a memory, not a moment, but a living encounter with a higher frequency. This is no longer about popularity or attention. You have crossed into the sacred territory where your presence leaves a residue of restoration in every space it enters. You are now felt more than you are seen. You are remembered even after the body is gone. The women who come near you will feel something shift, something settle, something awaken. and they may not be able to explain what just happened. Some will call it chemistry. Others will label it connection. But you, chosen one, will know the truth. What they are experiencing is the result of your fire finally becoming light. That light doesn't blind, it warms. It reveals, it heals, it softens the hardened edges of those who've forgotten what sacred presence feels like. You are no longer just a man. You are now a place where people meet parts of themselves again. You are not addictive because you are manipulative. You are unforgettable because you are safe, sovereign, and sound. And yes, some will return to you simply to feel your field again, to sit next to you without needing to speak, to be around your gaze and remember what it feels like to be witnessed without being reduced.